Welcome to Yokota Occupational Therapy Weekly. I'm Teresa and I'm here with a great human being today. I'm so excited for you to hear from her.
Hi, thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate that. My name is Kate Spitz. I am a licensed substance abuse counselor, and I also have my master's in social work from the University of Arkansas.
And we are going to tell you a little bit about just how to communicate openly, especially right now when we're getting ready for school and a lot of big changes, different times in our lives that we haven't really navigated before. So these are things that you can use now especially, but they're great for any and every time.
Yeah, absolutely. These are communication techniques that you can use not only with your children, but also with your support system, your spouse, and other adults. And like Teresa said, these are not just for times of crisis. These are really good communication skills that you can use just in your everyday life.
Yeah, I know I use them all the time.
Same.
We were talking a little bit about what to look for. So do you have any tips or things that we should be on the lookout for in terms of basically a reaction to the newness that we're going?
So yeah, it's really common just with everyone in general. We're talking about just humans in general. When there are certain things that are kind of going on that are outside of our control, our behaviors change and shift, right? So just being aware if your child or really anybody else that you're interacting with, if their behavior is shifting. So, you know, if someone is a little bit more quiet and they're usually very bubbly, if there is a little bit more neediness that's not, you know, normal or that you wouldn't think would be regular activity, things like that. And also too, sometimes it comes in the form of just kind of being angry or confused. All of those things are things that can happen for behavioral changes and shifts.
Totally. And something that came to mind right away is the dysregulation, that irritability that can kind of come up. A lot of times it will manifest physically. So I know for me, when I'm upset, I need a lot of deep pressure, whether it's a hug or doing yoga. Some people need space. So you really need to know someone's sensory needs, and everyone has them. Every single human being has sensory needs. We all have sensory systems. So when we get dysregulated, you can see kind of that ramp up. You can see the build, and usually there's a little sign that lets you know it's about to happen, and that's something that you can look for as well. And that's with any time, but especially when there's a change in routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Being aware of those changes and any of those, not necessarily like warning signs, but more just red flags and just changes in any kind of behavior and emotional needs is really important.
Yeah, and I think we also want to be looking out for regression in general. So there are a couple things that can happen. When we're talking about education specifically, it's going to be just fine if when they go back to school, they're not doing exactly the same thing that they did before. It's something that's kind of expected, especially right now, and we'll work through it. That's what you have all of your lovely school professionals for, and we're all here to support and help, and there's so many people here on base that can continue to support and help. But what you can do as a parent, so you can delete that worry because we've got you. But what you can do is talk to your kids and be there for them. And kind of some of the strategies that you talked about, if you want to share some, they are really awesome and easy. And you don't need to really do too much. You don't need to buy anything. You just have to take some time.
You do. You just have to be able to take some time to sit down and, you know, before you do maybe check in with your kids, it's important to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how are you feeling right now? And this is just a very small piece of self-care. So you can go ahead and continue to be the best parent that you can be while also taking care of yourself. Does not need to be fancy.
No.
At all. It can be something as simple as taking a deep breath.
That's my tool always. I love that one. The just pause, the reset if I know that I'm starting to get emotional as well. Just taking a moment before I respond.
Yes, absolutely. And there is nothing wrong or bad with shelving an emotion or a feeling or just saying, I'm going to come back to this. And that is an excellent thing for you to do if you are starting to experience things or emotions that you feel are kind of going somewhere very quickly and you want to bring it back. It is a great skill to also teach your kids, because that teaches them, if they have a lot of very big emotions, a lot of big feelings, that it's okay to take a step back, reassess, and come back to it at a time where they have a little bit more of a clear head and a better response to it. So
exactly.
if you can model that for them, that is an excellent way to, first of all, check in with yourself, like we were saying, take that deep breath, check in with you, and then show them that that is a good and accessible skill for them to have.
And I love that you said to model it for them. This is such an important thing that I want to stress, that your child can't do anything they haven't seen before. Yes, we have some very creative individuals out there, but if you want your child to be able to do something, you have to show them how. So if you never take a break, or if you always react before you are able to take that time to think and refill your own cup, your child will do the same. So showing what we want to happen by doing it ourselves. So that self-care, it gives back over and over again. It's kind of the idea of a teapot. I love imagery, and so if you consider you've got this lovely teapot, it only fits a certain amount of water, and when you keep giving to everyone around you, your teapot's eventually empty. So how do you refill that? You have to take a moment to bring it back, and you also want to refill that so you can continue to be there for your children, for your husband, your wife, your friends, your family. Everybody around you needs something sometimes, and you also need something sometimes.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's an excellent way to talk about self-care. You're also teaching your children really good boundary skills.
It's true.
By saying, hey, I need a minute, and that is the basis of really good communication, by expressing and explaining what you need and how you feel.
It's true. And it's very different from walking away from a problem and never coming back to it. If you verbalize that you're taking that break, you walk away, or maybe you say, I'm not ready to talk about this right now. If you just label it, that's always a good place to start.
That is a wonderful place to start. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to, on our next video, talk a little bit about open-ended questions. But now you kind of have an idea of where we're going to go. So thank you for tuning in.
Thanks.